Hey there, Assalamu alaikum everybody. Hope you guys are doing good. Before we get started with the video, I want to introduce you guys to Hira Charity. Hira Charity is working with widows across Kashmir and Nepal. They're trying to build homes for them. One really important point about this charity is that they have zero admin cost. You know all your money, all your sadaqah is going towards the right thing. Majority of these women are vulnerable, obviously because they're widows. So that's why it's more important for us as brothers, as men in society, and also if there's sisters watching, for us to help them out as much as possible. Now, these homes are being built in the smartest way possible. They're finding the best candidates and then building for them. So there's long-term sustainability for your charity. The homes are ranging somewhere around 4,500 to 5,000 Canadian dollars. So they're getting something decent, but it's not super expensive. So more people are being benefited by this. They've already built 15 homes in Nepal and Pakistan for widows. There's 5 more coming, inshallah, in the next few months, and they're continuously working hard to bring as much more possible. Usually, they work for 2 bed plus 1 kitchen, water plus basic furniture for these widows. Now, if you're interested in giving sadaqah to this charity, I'll put everything in the description below. Please check it out. Hiracharity.com is the website, and then the other link is for the actual sadaqah or donations or fitra, whatever you want to give, zakat or whatever it is, you can give through there. Now let's get started with the video. So I hope you guys liked the last 2 videos. First one was graduating without student loans before planning before you even starting your post-secondary. And then the second one, which was before this one, is if you started with OSAP, this was this one. And then the last one is how to pay off your loan after graduating as soon as possible. And this is for people who are ambitious, people who truly care about not paying riba, and people who are honestly trying to just get over this encompassing loan as quick as possible. Okay, so these are the life considerations that you need to have. You're 22 plus, you graduated, you're 22 years old. You need to be someone who's like a machine, a well-oiled machine. A lot of people say this, if someone is really successful, like about Elon Musk, say he's a machine, like he gets things done. He just keeps going, going, going. That is exactly what I mean. And I don't want to scare you, but I want to be honest with you that if you're not a man of accountability, responsibility, and a man of ambition, then what are you truly like focusing on in life? Like, what are you doing with yourself, right? Like, there's not a choice that you have as a Muslim person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of the men of society. So there's not a lot of choices that you have. So I say, tell you have to be ambitious. You have to be working hard. That's the second requirement. I would also say learn using a scheduler, which means like proper scheduling systems of your day, and follow it and journal. I have a few journals here sitting right here. Journal everything. Try your best to spend 10 minutes a day in the morning or at night and just journal and make schedules every night before you go to sleep what the next day looks like. And you make a progress report for yourself, like where are you? And this document will help you do that. Again, mandatory work. Most importantly, get parents' blessings. You shouldn't be starting anything. Bro, no partying and no woman, no family, in the sense like, starting a family, marriage, until like you've paid it off type of thing. Because you can focus, you really have to focus and get this thing done with before you can get into this thing. Obviously, I don't want to promote haram, so I'm going to say if you're the type of man that cannot control themselves, can't do Monday and Thursdays or fasting, then get married. Get married ASAP. Get married at the age of 20. Get married at the age of 18 for all I care. But don't do anything haram. But if you can, so no partying at all, bro. Just tell your friends, look, guys, we can meet up, but we'll meet up at the park. We'll play some soccer, some basketball. That's it. We're not going out to eat. We're not doing any of these things because I need to focus on paying off this loan. Because it's better for me to not be socially up there until I haven't paid off this loan. Because until I don't pay off this loan, I'm technically doing riba, and riba, as I enough times I've said it on my channel, it's like waging war against the Prophet and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm pretty sure I'd rather starve myself than wage war with the Prophet. I'm a little extreme, but I like to give these extreme examples because some people just don't understand life until you give them these type of examples, and some people just get scared of these. So don't get scared. Next thing is apply for all possible ways to delay OSAP. I've already shared one from the last video. We'll add that clip now. So you guys watch that clip. I would say do that ASAP, ASAP, ASAP if you haven't done it. And plus, I would say look into any other ways, whatever country you're in, whichever situation you're in. If you're in UK, they have their own system. I think in UK they also have halal student loans now. So look into that. Australia has their own, Germany has their own. Whatever it is, wherever you are, do it. You from your like do it according to your legal system. You graduated. You're 22 years old. First year of slavery is you have to have a job and you have to be focusing on your deen. So it's like if you're working 9 to 5, you work 9 to 5, and then you have a part-time job, side hustle, which is a weekend hustle, which so means you work 9 to 5. Then after that, if you don't have a part-time job, which is like I used to work at a restaurant. So I had a restaurant job, which was with everything included, it didn't work out to be too bad as a side income. And you do deen also with that. So for example, 9 to 5 you work 1 or 2 hours of deen, or you go to your whatever part-time job. Nighttime you finish off your job, you go straight to the masjid, you make sure you pray isha there, or you do some type of deen that you're doing aside with this. The reason I'm saying this is because the motivation comes when you truly are living for the sake of Allah. So then you're motivated, and that motivation is there because you're constantly doing deen stuff, right? So you want to that spirit, the Islamic spirit, needs to be risen or continuously growing all along this journey. And then on weekends you can take some course like tajweed course or aqidah course or some Quran course, or you can go to the mosque and you can pray your 5 time prayers there. Why not? And have the part-time job even in the weekend. Do not let yourself be free at any moment, because as they say, a empty mind is a home for Satan, for shaitan. So if you have an empty mind, or if you're just not doing anything, you're gonna have a house for shaitan, and yani, you don't want that, especially when you're graduating. And I put one of the recommendations or one of the consideration is no woman, right? No partying, no woman. So you need to be working a lot, or you need to be focused a lot for you to not be able to do the no woman and no partying part. Okay, you start work. This is another consideration of $26,000 is your expenses. Another consideration: one, rental living, house, car, everything. You're still living with your parents. If you're not living with your parents, you have rented a room in a shared apartment or something. Your about expenses are going to be somewhere around $26,000. I did the calculations, and this is what respectable amount comes down. And this is you living is somewhat of a decent lifestyle. You're not just surviving. You're living off of a decent lifestyle, okay? Because you're alone, or even if you have some responsibilities, you can add that in there. But being alone, honestly, you shouldn't be able. Your expenses shouldn't be over $20,000. Khair, we'll keep that float just because we're in this discussion. Your revenue is $40,000, and the reason why I'm saying this is because your side job plus your full time job after taxes should be $40,000. I mean, no matter what you're graduating with, the minimum you're making under minimum wage is $27,000 for the year. And then if you're doing also a side job with that, just do 27,000 times 1.5. You're looking at somewhere around, give and take, 40,000, 44,000, 45,000. So this is very conservative numbers. Okay, being very honest with you. And I know people who have made, like, I'd say $55 to $60,000 doing exactly this system. Okay, so you shouldn't have this problem. So $40,000, you have your full time job, you have your part time job. That's what's coming in your hand. You're paying off $26,000 a year. You said, let's say you have $1,200 worth of responsibilities. This is like, on a yearly basis, you pay into, like, you give some money to your brother, you give your some money to your, gifts, whatever. So you said 12,000. Even if you want to make more, you can. It's your choice how much you want to give up. And maybe you can say part of your expenses is part of your responsibilities. Your OSAP is starting off at $45,000, and the reason why I'm putting this is because 11,000 times 4, which is 44,000, and I put an extra $1,000 because some people some way would argue, oh, I have more OSAP. So I said, what, let's just keep it $45,000. Keep a float of $3,000 as an expenditure. So you're saying the yearly expense on top of the 26,000, and the 1,200 is a 3,000. Because as I told you guys, a float is very important. You have to have a float because you never know what can pop up out of nowhere, right? You can have some expenses that come out of nowhere. Your car has an issue, so it's more expensive than within the $26,000. Let's say at the ending of that year, your bank balance is somewhere around 9,800, right? So you can see that the calculation is done. So from this, you pay off you take that $9,800, you give it right to OSAP. You say, OSAP, here you go. NSLC, you go, take it. I'm at zero starting the next year. And the reason why I say this is because this is not your money. So if you're enjoying luxuries on somebody else's money, you shouldn't be happy about that. So you pay off it, and this is exactly how I've actually worked with a few brothers, and this is exactly how they're doing it. They're exactly this is how they're doing it. They don't want to enjoy anything until this is paid off because it's a potential of riba, right? You can get off with the provincial loan, so you can get off with the federal loan, but what about the provincial side, right? So and usually that still occurs up. So let's say that first year you don't get it because you apply for the assistance plan, you apply for this thing, and plus you have give and take. 1 year usually you have some time to pay it off. I think it's 9 months or something like that. So that included that year. There's no riba on the $35,200. Now next year starts. You pay. You have the expense of 26,000. You have the revenue of 45,000 because this year you've promoted a little bit or you're making a little bit more money because you figured out some things. You're doing more hours now because you got your life in scheduled. Remember, scheduling is very important, and this is true. You should be able to get an increase of about $5,000 from $40,000. So we were saying roughly, it's not a lot I'm talking about, right? 10% increase in your salary is acceptable. This is usually the case in more or less jobs. Um, your OSAP is at the 50 to 35,000 I talked about. Same expenses, same numbers. Now you have a bank balance of $14,800 because you made that extra $5,000. But guess what? The entire 14 or $15,000 goes to who? Yeah, the OSAP. Good man, you're learning. So then you're left with a true balance of $20,400. Okay, but unfortunately, due to that loan, there is gonna be a riba accumulated on that $35,000, and that for that year, and I kept a very reasonable 3% because that's usually what online said. I don't know. I didn't pay any. I didn't have to pay riba on it, so I don't know much about it. But I looked online, and this is what the online number gave me was about 3%. So I give a respectable $1,000 that you pay in riba that year. Now hear me out. Because you're paying that amount in riba, you also have to pay the exact amount in sadaqah jariyah that year. You don't have zakat on you, but you're gonna have to mandatory pay that amount that year or the years after. But you're gonna have to pay that amount in sadaqah. It's called income cleansing. This is very important. A lot of people don't understand this. Look, you got yourself in a situation where you have to do something haram. The worst case scenario is you ended up doing the riba, but you ended up giving the riba, but you have to pay charity to imbalance it, to balance that out. And there's a lot of philosophy behind income cleansing, but I don't this video is not for that. So just listen to me when I say this. Pay the sadaqah, the exact amount. What I usually say is pay a little bit more because you just do a little bit more. It's just you're giving in the sake of Allah. A part of it, when you're giving charity, it won't be counted as a blessing for you because you did haram of $1,056, but then you give enough charity for $1,056. That cancels it out. A little bit more, it's like a little bit more ajr for yourself, a little bit more sadaqah. And remember, this is very true. When you give sadaqah or you take responsibilities of your family and the people around you, Allah gives you so much more. And this is honestly one of the best things I can tell you is that give as much as you could, because Allah will give it back to you in multiple folds. You're starting your third year of slavery, which is your full-time job, at the age of 24. At this time, you need to start thinking about marriage. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you're going to be paying off your loan very soon, and you're going to be starting off with a decent financial situation. And at this point, I think it's probably the most reliable thing to do is to start thinking about marriage, because or else you're going to go into deep sins and fitna. And plus, on top of that, it's very difficult in today's generation to find someone decent who are on the deen, who are focused on the deen, and focused on the akhirah, rather than focused on just this dunya and this. They're comfortable doing riba stuff. They're comfortable doing everything. So this takes some time. So, Kat, you start with that. You have $26,000 in expenses. You have by now $55,000 in revenue. This is both your part-time job or your side hustle has taken off, and B, your full-time job is going to give you a promotion by second year. If it's not, you switch your job. There's something called job hopping. Usually at every job hop, you make a 33% to about a 50% increase in pay. So you do something called job hop. And I mean, you should always just keep applying to different jobs to see what your potential is. Okay, so what you can get paid for. If the right thing comes along, you take the jump. Um, at the same time, I mean, I do want to talk about a little bit about corporate career. Loyalty in some essence does pay, but unfortunately in modern day times you'll see where even loyalty sometimes doesn't pay. So there's like a gray area there, and I would say, depending on your situation, either be loyal or not to be loyal to that one corporate company. Your responsibilities by now should increase but I kept it at 1200 just because you're still living at home, or you're still living in the same area, still living the same thing. You're not going more than this. Remember, it's been 3 years. I told you one thing: you cannot be thinking about partying and luxuries right now. Work hard these 4 or 5 years for a better 20, 30 year. Trust me when I say this. And now, when it comes to your responsibilities, and sorry, your OSAP is at $20,400, right? You have your float still at 3,000, but because your bank balance is at 24,800, you saved up the entire year. You didn't do much crazy partying, nothing stupid. Your true bank balance should be 22,088. So your bank balance now should show 22,888. Sorry, 2,288, $2,288. Sorry. Now, this is because you were able to pay off all your loans. You're fully paid off by your third year of slavery, which is by the age of 24 or by the age of 25, depending on when you start your work. This third year of ending of the third year of you working. At the ending of this, you should still have a riba to pay of about $612. So then I would say mandatory pay on another $612 for sadaqah jariyah and a little bit more. By fourth year is when the fun starts happening. By now, you're 25, you might have seen a few rishtas, and you're starting to wrap up a little money. And now you start thinking about getting a better car. Now you start thinking about, okay, mama, papa, and you start thinking about my investment portfolio, and you start thinking about maybe building some assets, right? I won't say you get another promotion, but some people buy their fourth year of slavery. They do end up getting another promotion. So usually every 2 years or every 3 years, um, and your OSAP is gone. Alhamdulillah, Mashallah, Tabarakallah, Alhamdulillah, right? And then you can increase your responsibilities. You can say, you know what, Mama, Papa, I want to start taking up more of the house bills. I want to be doing X, Y, Z. And let me start giving you money. And I really say this honestly, your parents know you're an adult when you start giving into that, like into their pockets. And so I would honestly say, look into maybe giving them somewhere around $500 a month. And look, as a whole, it doesn't seem like it seems like what is $500 a month in their pockets. A mother who's especially a homemaker, she starts realizing my son is now a man. He's making decisions. He's accountable. I can trust him. And she's more proud of you. So when it comes to the elements of your izzah in the house, trust me, your izzah in the house skyrockets when you start taking responsibility. You're not talking about a rijal. Rijal is the base of it. One big base of it is the fact that you have to be responsible and someone who's accountable. And this helps with that. So, Kat, by the ending of that year, your bank says somewhere around $22,288, somewhere, let's just say $22,000. I'll put another 1,200 here because I really think you should start paying sadaqah once you're in profits every month in a year. Then obviously there's also your money that has to go for your zakat. You have to give fitrana and all these things. But I say keep a mandatory, even more than this, to be very honest with you guys, maybe somewhere around $200 a month type of thing. Why not? When you can enjoy yourself some luxuries, you should give some in sadaqah. So, Kat, your true bank balance looks somewhere around, let's say, 21,000, 20,000. You get yourself a nice car. Now you start looking at that Audi that you really want, and now you start looking at that BMW. Or you take this $20,000 and you follow what I've been telling you guys about real estate investment across the world, so you can build up a portfolio and then at some point reap the rewards from that portfolio and bring them back or do whatever you want to do with them, right? Then fifth year comes and the same thing, you make more money. You're at somewhere around $44,000. I hope this kind of helps you guys, right? I took you guys on a journey from before post-secondary. You take no loans. You take a loan, but you start paying it off while you're doing university and college, and then after. This is very important. I hope you guys have learned something from this. Share this with people who you think would be benefited by it. Share this with parents, please. There's a lot of parents who don't understand how to make a financial journey for their kids. This is going to help them, inshallah. And if someone benefits and someone doesn't pay riba because you help them by sending this video, it will be a benefit for you, and obviously it will be a benefit for me. And this is exactly what I'm doing, is sadaqah jari, hopefully. I hope you guys like this video. This document will be in the description below. Download it, copy the tab, post it on your Excel sheet, adjust the numbers yourself, and then make your own journey. Maybe your journey is 6 years, 7 years, depending on what your responsibility is in the house. Some, I know, sons have to give majority of their salary into the house. It's okay. Alhamdulillah, Allah selected you for that work. Don't be annoyed by that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. As always, take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum.